Hey everyone, this is Molly and welcome to another astrology teaching video. I want to show you more about how to understand and read your astrology chart or a transiting chart and put together more of the basic fundamentals of astrology for you. I do teach an introductory astrology course if you want to know even more about your natal astrology chart. Information about that is below this video, but I think it's important to give you some of the fundamentals so that you know what to look for and even some of the details that can be overlooked until they become important. So we're going to talk about how to look at the planets to read them specifically based on their degrees and their minutes. So in this chart, we can see that the sun is at 16 degrees of Virgo and 31 minutes. Now, every degree is composed of 60 minutes. So think of an hour, right? How every hour in the day is composed of 60 minutes. It's the same for each degree. And when we look at the planets, we typically just talk about the degrees because the planets move fast. So for example, the sun moves 1 degree a day. The moon moves much faster. The moon right here is at 9 degrees of Virgo, 36 minutes. The moon is the fastest moving out there in the cosmos. So it moves through many degrees in a day. This is why your birth time is important, because the moon moves through so many degrees in a day that you want to make sure and get as close as possible for the moon. And then Mercury is also fast moving. Mercury here is at 5 degrees of Virgo and 46 minutes. So these 3 planets all together here in Virgo are actually some of the fastest moving. And so we don't typically reference the minutes because they move so fast. It isn't as relevant. However, with slower moving planets, you do want to reference the minute because of how slow they move. So let's look at 2 examples for that. We'll talk about Neptune first, and then we'll talk about Pluto. So right here, Neptune is at 15 degrees Pisces, 2 minutes in retrograde. So retrograde moves, it's moving backwards, obviously. And because Neptune is the second slowest moving planet, it takes a long time to move through 1 degree. So Neptune is going to be moving backwards to 13 degrees and 42 minutes, where it will station direct on November 25th. Now, I'm talking about the year 2018, and this chart is actually for a period in September, the exact date here, September 9th, 2018. So September 9th, 2018, Neptune is at 15 degrees Pisces and 2 minutes, moving backwards. Now, it moves so slowly that from September to November, the end of November, it's only going to move 1.5 degrees. It goes back to 13 degrees and 42 minutes. Okay, do you like my awesome handwriting there? So understand that it moves so slowly that the degree and the minutes really matter for these slow-moving planets, because it's going to hit certain parts of your chart and stay there. It's so slow moving that it will hang out with a conjunction, a trine, a square, an opposition for a long time. And that's why the minutes matter with the slower moving planets. Now let's take a look at our buddy Pluto, who is at 18 degrees of Capricorn, 52 minutes. Now in this chart, you have to be sure and look for that degree sign and not to read it in reverse, not to read the numbers in reverse, because of how this particular chart displays the degrees. So you see how over here it's 18 degrees, 52 minutes next to the planet. But over here, when you look at the north node, the degrees are on the left side. So it's 3 degrees. of Leo, 35 minutes. So you have to watch that in a chart. It's different depending on the software you use or the astrology website or app, whatever you use. But you have to look for that degree. Because some people will say, oh, is that at 52 degrees? No, because there's the planets, they only go to 29 degrees, like Mars here. Okay, so you look for the degree to ensure that it's the correct number. So 18 degrees, Capricorn, 52 minutes, retrograde. Now, this is actually Pluto going so slow because Pluto is about to station direct on October 1st, 2018 at 18 degrees and 45 minutes. So for over the course of 3 weeks, Pluto goes so slow that the minutes change. Only 7 minutes, right? Like that's how slow Pluto moves, especially as it slows down to station direct. Then he'll station direct and move forward starting at 18 degrees, 45 minutes of Capricorn and move to 19 degrees on November 1st. So it takes a full month to move 1 degree. So that's why it's important to be aware of the minutes here when you're looking at the outer planets. Now, the other thing I want to share with you about reading these planet locations is that we also do something in astrology where we round up to the next degree when a planet has passed the 30-minute mark. So let me show you some examples of that. Back to the sun. So the sun is at 16 degrees and 31 minutes. So now that it's past 31 minutes, it is moving, it's closer to 17 degrees, right? So we would round up. So in this chart, you could say that the sun is actually at 17 degrees for this upcoming new moon. And that's why you'll see written as the sun is at 16 degrees or 17 degrees, because you look at this chart and you say, oh, but Molly, the sun's at 16 degrees. Yes, but we round up when it's past the 30-minute mark. This is not the exact new moon chart because the moon will be at the same degree as the sun, which is not the case here. I'll be doing a separate video on the Virgo new moon, but just to give you an idea of how to read it. So let's go over here. Check out our girl Venus. She's at 29 degrees of Libra, 53 minutes. So you could round up and say that Venus, Venus is nearly at 0 degrees of Scorpio because she's only 3 minutes away. Now let's go to this one. Jupiter at 18 degrees of Scorpio. We would call this 18 degrees. We wouldn't round up to 19 degrees yet because it's at 21 minutes. Okay, so that one we would say in a chart, okay? In a chart reading, we would say, well, this is at 18 degrees. But look at Saturn. Capricorn going direct, no longer retrograde, at 32 minutes. So in a chart reading, you would round up. You could round up and say that it's at 3 degrees of Capricorn. Now let's keep going here. Mars at 29 degrees, Capricorn, 40 minutes. Round up and say, okay, at the 29 degrees, that is called a critical degree. It's when it's the completion degree. It's the final stop in that energy. So Mars is at the final stop here of 29 degrees of Capricorn. He's now at 40 minutes. So he's almost into Aquarius again, 0 degrees Aquarius. So in a chart, you could round up. When it's at the 29 mark, that's typically important because it's a completion of the energies, the lessons, the motivations. What did you learn? What was healed? What came up? And then what do you take forward into the next energy? So the 29 degree mark is really important, especially in a chart. It's interesting here where both Mars and Venus are both at 29 degrees and they're squaring each other, huh? So I'll be doing a separate video for you on this new moon, but that 29 degree mark is a point of completion. So then let's look over here at Chiron. Chiron, 0 degrees of Aries, 45 minutes, retrograde. So this is important too, because at the 0 degree mark, the planet just entered that astrological sign, just moved into that energy. It can be getting your bearings. What am I doing here? This is a new energy. What's going on? Like, get clear. Stop and get clear. And as Chiron moves retrograde, Chiron also moves slower. So it's staying at the 0 degree mark, and then it's going to go back into Pisces. And that will be, again, a changing of energies. And then let's do one more quick test here. One more, test your knowledge. Uranus at 2 degrees of Cancer, 8 minutes, retrograde. Uranus also moves slowly. Uranus is moving backwards into Aries in November. So from September to November, Uranus is only moving 2 degrees, and that makes the minutes more important. So when a planet is moving slowly, the minutes are more important. When there is an outer planet, the minutes are more important. And it helps with the exact conjunctions, oppositions, trines, squares. It helps with the exact aspects when those are exactly formed. Now, this is also important for your birthday, because when you were born, the sun was at an exact degree, an exact minute. And when the sun reaches that same degree and minute is actually your exact birthday, and that can change year to year. So, for example, let's say September 8th is your birthday, and your sun is at 16 degrees, 31 minutes of Virgo. Someone who's born earlier in the day might have it at 16 degrees, 29 minutes, or 16 degrees, 34 minutes. It can change year to year. And that's when the sun returns to this exact degree and exact minute, that is your solar return. And that can vary year to year. So if your birthday is September 8th, your actual sun at 16 degrees, 31 minutes might make that conjunction, say, late on September 7th or early on September 9th. It changes year to year because of how the sun's progresses at different speeds, especially if there's a leap year. It's all very much about the numbers here. So we celebrate our birthdays on the same day, but your actual exact solar return can vary. It also varies depending on your physical location on the earth. So the other thing you can do now is when you know your exact degree and minute, you round up or round down. So in this chart, we would round up, remember, because it's 30 minutes or more, 30 minutes or more. And you round up. So in this chart, we would round up to 17 degrees. And you could then look up what 17 degrees of Virgo means through the Sabian Symbols. Now, Sabian Symbols are this really beautiful description of every degree of the zodiac. And it was channeled by Dane Rudyhar, I say his name wrong, and his information has been so beautifully accurate. I'm going to put a link below this video for you to check it out, because then you could look up what your exact degree is of your sun sign and look up what that visual is, the imagery associated with that energy, and it's going to perhaps give you more insights into your sun sign energy. Dane Rudyhar. And again, I'll put that below this video. So just some more ways to understand your astrology chart. And I will also post information for the introductory astrology course, which is how you go into understanding your chart more. It's not simply talking about astrological signs and planets and aspects, although that is all included. I give you a focal point into how to read your chart like a professional astrologer. So I show you, okay, this is the houses that are important for you, or these are the energies that are most